Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sportuccino. It is Monday, the 7th of November, 2016. I'm Richard Parr, and we're here for another fun-filled 30 minutes. We are digesting sports like we do every weekday morning on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a fantastic weekend of sports, so let's take a look at our morning headlines.
Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp plays down talk of a title challenge after his side moved to the top of the English Premier League with a 6-1 win over Watford. Barcelona are 2 points behind Real Madrid in La Liga. That's after they beat Sevilla 2-1. Andy Murray will officially be confirmed as world number one later. Murray beat John Isner to become the Paris Masters champion on Sunday. And 20-year-old Guilherme Gabriel Selassie of Eritrea became the youngest man to win the New York Marathon.
The festive season is nearly upon us, so what better way to wow your audience, to wow your crowd, than by getting an award-winning magician? Well, that's what Matt Parro can do for your event or party this Christmas season. All you've got to do is check out his website, mattparro.com, or send him a tweet on Twitter @MattParro for more details. Absolutely amazing magic from the award-winning magician Matt Parro. He is the sponsor of today's show. If you would like to sponsor a future show, send us an email, sportsdesk@sportuccino.com. We would love to hear from you. So we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. We also continue the conversation on Twitter, on our Twitter page @Sportuccino. And every single weekday morning, we have a brand new poll related to sports, obviously. So let's have a look at the result of Friday's poll. So Friday's poll said, does the rugby residency rule need changing? So there was an interview last week in the Telegraph with Gus Pichot, one of the heads of the IRB. He felt that players needed to be living in a country longer before they should be able to play for that country at rugby. And 67% of you agree with him. 67% of you think that the rugby residency rule needs changing. All right, so that leads us to today's poll, Monday the 7th of November, brand new poll on Twitter. Let's take a look at it. And of course, it's related to tennis. Who will be world number one at the end of 2016? Will it be Andy Murray or will it be Novak Djokovic? Who do you think? Let us know on the Twitter page. Who will be world number one at the end of 2016? Andy Murray or Novak Djokovic? Of course, later today, Andy Murray will be confirmed as the world number one. He won it on Saturday after his semi-final with Milos Raonic was called off. He'd got enough points to overtake Djokovic, and then he went on to win the Paris Masters by defeating John Isner on Sunday. Well, a lot has changed in the world of tennis, and my guest this morning is the sports reporter from the metro.co.uk. George Bellshaw joins us live this morning on the show, and we're going to first talk to George about a bit of tennis. And George, in fact, welcome to the show. And I'm going to start off with your thoughts on today's poll. Who do you think will be the world number one come the end of the year?
I mean, it's not as clear-cut as I think many people will kind of hope. I think Murray will end number one. That's my personal view. But that comes with a caveat. You know, Djokovic has kind of dropped off a cliff in the second half of the year. But he's very, very good at this event. He's won the last 4 ATP World Tour finals. If Murray wins the event, he'll end number one. If Djokovic wins the event and wins all his group games, he'll end number one. So it's pretty simple in those terms. Murray's not won it before, but you'd expect him to beat everyone on that field at the moment. I think if he avoids Wawrinka in his group, that'll be a big plus. But I'd expect him to beat most of these guys there. You know, Federer and Nadal aren't playing. People like Monfils are playing their first event here. Dominic Thiem's there for the first time. So Murray's got a great chance. But the caveat is Djokovic is very, very good here. And that Murray's not played Djokovic since losing to him in the French Open. So it'll be interesting if those two do meet, whether Murray can kind of get through that mental barrier in the big events against Djokovic.
How important really is it to be world number one, do you think? Are we just clutching at straws right now because there's no major event, there's no slam going on right now? Or does it really matter when you've had people such as Kafelnikov be world number ones and other players probably not quite in the same level as a Djokovic, Federer and Nadal before?
I'd say it does matter because, there's that kind of element of personal pride, being named the best player in your sport. Players who aren't number one can win Grand Slams as well, of course. So people like Marin Cilic has won a Grand Slam, and he, you wouldn't consider him to be one of the greats of all time. So I'd say that it's a more niche group, world number one, that, you really have to dominate your sport for a period. You can't just have one good tournament. And Murray, being number one in this period is a really, really great badge of honour because he's played in the toughest era of all time. He's won 3 slams, which is pretty incredible considering the opposition he's been up against. And I think to be number one is a real, credit to him for keep going. He's the second oldest world number one for a first timer. And yeah, I think it's really fantastic and it will mean a lot. Yeah.
Are we expecting it to be Djokovic and Murray now to continue to dominate tennis, or are we going to see a resurgence again from Nadal and Federer, or do you expect someone else to come through, or do you think Wawrinka can really charge for this? How do you see the next year or so of men's tennis?
I think first and foremost, a lot will depend on Djokovic's recovery to the start of 2017. He was completely unbeatable in the first half of 2016. And he's got a lot of ranking points to defend in that period. So, in terms of him returning to the top, he needs to turn it around pretty quickly in the off season, shake off his injury problems. I know he's had a kind of issue with his arm that he'll hope to kind of get over. Murray will go into next year as the favourite to do well. I think, he was targeting world number one in February because he's, had a bit of a slower start to the year. So he's got a lot of ground to kind of make up in terms of ranking points there, which would be great for him. So he should really get a stronghold on the rankings and be number one then. In terms of Federer and Nadal, I don't really see much of a resurgence from either of them. It'll be interesting to see Federer's condition. I think he's 35 now. He's taken the majority of the year off. Will he come back strong enough? I suspect not. I think this could be the last year of Roger Federer. Same with Nadal. He'll be in and around, but I don't see him winning a Grand Slam away from the French Open. And even then, I think Murray and Djokovic would be too strong for him. As for the rest of the field, Wawrinka could pop up and win a Grand Slam, but I don't expect him to, have a maintained, consistent challenge to be the top guy on the tour. And I don't really expect any of the younger guys to challenge Murray's level at the moment. So I think Murray's got a great chance to really go at the slams he's not won yet and have a really, really good 2017.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there, George. Thanks for your thoughts on that. Just stay with us a moment. We're going to start having a look at what happened in the Premier League, and we'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment. Thanks to George for the minute. Let's have a look at what happened in the English Premier League on Saturday. So here we go, 5 games on Saturday. Sunderland have got their first win on the board, beating Bournemouth 2-1. Jermaine Defoe getting the winner from the penalty spot. They were even playing part of that half with 10 men after Stephen Pienaar was sent off. Burnley 3, Crystal Palace 2. Ashley Barnes with the winner, the former Brighton player, in that 3-2 victory. What a game that was. Manchester City slipping up against Middlesbrough. 1-1. A superb ball from Kevin De Bruyne for Aguero, his 150th City goal. He did miss a great chance towards the end, and it was punished by Darun with the late equaliser for Borough. West Ham 1, Stoke 1. An own goal from Glenn Whelan had given West Ham the lead. But what was Adrian doing for that Stoke equaliser? In the middle of no man's land, and Bojan got the equaliser there for Stoke. 1-1 there. Chelsea. I was unable to pick this Chelsea-Everton game when we were talking about it on Friday, but what a performance. 5-0. Eden Hazard, the 4th Premier League game he's scored in a row. First goal for Chelsea for Alonso, Costa scoring again, and then Hazard with great link-up play for his second with Pedro, and then Pedro also getting on the score sheet. What a performance from Chelsea, 5-0. That is what happened on Saturday in the English Premier League. Let's have a quick look at what happened on Sunday. Quite a busy Sunday, mainly because of the Europa League last week. It was the North London derby. Arsenal won, Tottenham won. The return of Harry Kane, 7 weeks out injured, and he returns with a goal, albeit from the penalty spot. Even Vincent Janssen can score from penalty spots. We've seen that. Hull 2, Southampton 1. Southampton had taken the lead, but Hull were able to get a win there. Liverpool, huge 6-1 winners over Watford. I watched that game the first half. They could have got even more. An incredible performance from them. They're now top of the league. Swansea 1, Manchester United 3. A Pogboom goal, I think you'd say, from Paul Pogba. An absolute screamer from him. And guess what? Zlatan's back. 2 goals for Ibrahimovic, although he is now suspended for picking up another booking, and he'll miss their game against Arsenal when we return from the international break. And Leicester, the champions, lost at home to West Brom. So we're going to talk more about everything in the Premier League. George returns to us here on Sportuccino. George, Liverpool, top of the league. Are they serious title contenders for you?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the big advantage both Liverpool and Chelsea have this season is that, you know, they're not playing in Europe at all. They can really focus on the Premier League, and even in the EFL Cup, which Liverpool, you know, should have a really good chance of winning, they're still kind of putting the kids out and resting their first team stars, which means players like Coutinho, Firmino, Lallana, you know, these guys were all kind of ready to go. Mane as well. That, you know, they're fit and fully focused on trying to win the Premier League this season, which is a huge advantage.
How good do you think this Liverpool side is? Let's say compare it to the Brendan Rodgers side, which came so close in the 2013-2014 season. Are they as good as this side, if not better?
I'd say the main kind of difference is that they lack that Luis Suarez player. So I think in that sense, Rodgers had more of a match winner than anyone else. As good as like Coutinho is, I think Suarez was a couple of levels above him. But what's encouraging for Liverpool is the areas the goals are coming from. I think at this stage in the season, they've had 10 different goal scorers, whereas under Rodgers, they'd had 5 goal scorers. So, you know, the goals are being spread around, which is good. It means you're not as reliant on someone like Suarez. Whether they're as good is tough to say. I think Klopp has really drilled a stunning system, and I didn't think they'd signed particularly well over the summer. But players like Matip have come in and look, you know, perfectly set up for this league. So I'd say it's early days, but there's no reason they can't sustain a title challenge like that Liverpool side and even go further and win it.
Yeah, it was interesting that Liverpool even played Lucas in defence rather than Klavan, a player they'd bought over the summer. But still, Lucas played really well, even when he was facing a pretty physical, strong striker like Troy Deeney. Now, you mentioned Chelsea, another win. I think it's 5 now. 5 wins in a row for Antonio Conte's side. There was even that talk about a month or so ago about that, was he going to be the next manager to be sacked? They're now 5 wins in a row. He's changed the system. What have you made of their performances in the last few games, George?
Well, funnily enough, they were my pick at the start of the season to win the league. And I was being a bit sheepish about 6 games ago after they'd kind of had a couple of poor results against Liverpool and Arsenal. And, you know, were they actually going to reach the level that we all thought they could? But what Conte's done is just had a clever tactical switch, gone to this kind of 3-4-3 formation, and they've been unbelievable since then. I don't think they've conceded a goal. And they've played some good teams. You know, they've thumped United. They played Southampton, who were on a good run before then. they're just great. They're so solid now, which, when you look at the form of David Luiz and Gary Cahill in a kind of 4-3-3 system, they didn't look like they were going to ever get on well in that position. And then everyone was like, let's get John Terry back in. But just by putting Azpilicueta alongside that three, and then Alonso and Moses going up and down the flanks, they've suddenly become solid. And Hazard has just returned to his best. Diego Costa's back to his best. Pedro looks like the player they thought they'd signed from Barcelona. It's really encouraging. And, there are tougher tests to come, but Chelsea fans must be really encouraged at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, you say it's a team without John Terry. It's a team without Fabregas as well. And, Fabregas didn't have a great year last season, but you wonder if Conte can get the best out of players such as Victor Moses and get the best out of Costa. Could he get the best out of Fabregas again when he gets fit and when he gets healthy? And also, they're not even without their best player of last season right now starting, and that's Willian, because Pedro's playing so well. So it is interesting to see how they can get on. Now, one game you did look at closely this weekend, George, was Manchester City 1-1 off the back of that huge win against Barcelona. What did you make of their performance?
I thought they played okay for the first half. They were pretty dominant. Borough turned up trying to frustrate and kind of nullify the threats of the likes of Aguero, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Silva. But, they're not taking their chances at the minute. And there was a glaring miss from Aguero late in the second half where he could have put it to bed. And Guardiola was pretty open about this in his post-match press conference. He said, we're creating more chances than everyone else, and we're still conceding few chances. Like Middlesbrough must have only had a couple of shots in the whole game, and yet they're ending up with a draw. And you could tell Guardiola, while he's happy with his methods and he kind of takes the laws of probability, if we keep creating these chances, we'll win. But they're conceding every single time a team comes forward, and it's a big problem at the moment. And they just can't hang on to a lead as well. So I think there's a really kind of worrying theme setting up for City, and I think it stems from their defenders really late on.
Yeah, which the one thing which still kind of confuses me, I was just rechecking their team sheet here as you were talking, because they didn't play Kompany again. Kompany's been on the bench the last few games. Now, I know he had that long injury. He has had these injury-prone spells, and he wasn't looking amazing when he came back. But I think it was the 1-1 draw, maybe it was Southampton, where Stones passed it back, and I think Redmond took advantage of it. That wasn't Kompany's fault. I don't understand, when you've got a fit Vincent Kompany, why you wouldn't play him, why he continues to insist to play Kolarov in centre-half and sometimes Fernandinho. What do you think? Do you think Kompany should be playing more regularly?
For me, the first choice defenders at City at this moment should be John Stones and Otamendi. I think Otamendi's been pretty solid alongside Stones, and that's where Guardiola sees his first choice pairing. Kompany, if he can get fit, will definitely be back in that side, I think. But that it's a big if. Can he get fit and reach the levels he was at before? I understood Guardiola not playing Kolarov at left back in this game because Middlesbrough have this pacey winger called Adama Traore, and you could see Clichy was brought in to play at left back to cover him because they'd seen how he attacked at Arsenal against Monreal. So a player without pace there would have been a bit of a kind of liability. But should Kompany have started over Kolarov at centre-back? I'd say yes. I mean, Kolarov to me doesn't look like a centre-back. He's not a centre-back. He's tall. He's good going forward. But I think, if Kompany's in that box at the end, it's a header that's been won. Okay, it's over Clichy, but someone like Kompany could get across and win that. So yeah, I think Kompany should have been playing there, but I think Otamendi will come back in next week and be the regular centre-back partnership with Stones.
Well, let's have a look at the other side of Manchester. Big 3-1 winners away at Swansea there. Zlatan back with the goals. The world's most expensive player, Paul Pogba, with an absolute screamer for United. They had that pretty devastating loss against Fenerbahce where Mourinho was calling them chokers and everything like that. Is this the kind of win which would give them the catalyst to kickstart their season now, or is this just beating Swansea?
I would probably say the latter. And to be honest, in terms of a kickstart, it couldn't have come at a worse time because, it's the international break now. So you never know who's going to get injured on this kind of 2-week period. And then they're coming up against Arsenal. So, Mourinho will be frustrated that they played so well in the first half. And they're going to follow it up with another win. But, I think Swansea are very, very poor. They tried to play a 4-4-2 system and they didn't even try and flood the midfield. They didn't get anyone near to players like Pogba. Ibrahimovic was just strolling around the halfway line half the time, picking up the ball, turning, spreading it wide. It was a real walk in the park, that first half. But one thing I would say about United's team selection and what they got right was the inclusion of Michael Carrick. He kind of controlled the play a lot better. Pogba looked freer. And I think Mourinho, there'll be a bit of pressure on him to start including Carrick because every game Carrick started this season, United have won. And, okay, he might not be able to play 3 games in a week, but they should be targeting the Premier League games. I think he can play, weekend to weekend. That's someone they need to start getting in there for me.
Okay, very interesting. It's been great to get your thoughts this morning, George. Just before you go, why don't you tell our viewers how they can continue to learn everything from you about football and sport on Twitter, social media, and anything else you'd like to promote right now?
Yeah, you can follow me at Bellshaw George on Twitter. And yeah, I'm on metro.co.uk pretty much every day. So yeah, come check us out.
We'll do. George Bellshaw, metro.co.uk, sports reporter. Thank you so much for your time this morning on Sportuccino.
Thanks.
Great to hear George there on the show. Thanks to him for becoming part of Sportuccino this morning. And we want you to be part of Sportuccino by helping us. What we'd really like for you to do, if you haven't already, is give us a rating and review on iTunes. Because while we're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube, we also repeat the show as an audio podcast on iTunes. And we're really trying to get on the new and noteworthy section of iTunes to help spread the word of the show. So to do that, we need your rating and review. Ideally 5 stars, but if you want to give me 1 star because you hate the show, well then go ahead and give me 1 star. But just contribute, be part of the conversation. I'd love for you to do it. Today's show is brought to you by the award-winning magician, Matt Parro. He can wow your event and your audience at your Christmas party coming to you soon. All you've got to do is get in touch with him, mattparro.com. Send him a tweet at Matt Parro. Thanks to him for sponsoring today's show. If you would like to sponsor the show, really easy. Send us an email, sportsdesk@sportuccino.com. Very easy thing to do. All right, let's have a look at what happened in the football matches across the biggest leagues in Europe. We'll start with the Spanish League, and Atletico Madrid have lost their second game in 3 matches, losing away at Real Sociedad 2-0. They dropped down to 4th in the table. Real Madrid 3-0 winners against neighbours Leganés. Gareth Bale, he got that new contract and he now continues to score. He got 2 goals there. Morata with their 3rd in their 3-0 win. Barcelona, great win for them away at Sevilla. Vitolo has put Sevilla 1 up, but Messi got a goal and then set up Luis Suarez for that 2-1 victory. In Italy's Serie A, Juventus go 4 points clear with a 2-1 win at Chievo. Pjanic with the winner with 15 minutes to go. Milan, they continue to go well. A first goal for Gianluca Lapadula gave them the victory there. And Roma were 3-0 winners against Bologna. In the German Bundesliga, Bayern Munich drew 1-1 with the unbeaten Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim are 3rd. Bayern are still top, but only in goal difference. They're joint on points with Red Bull Leipzig. Leipzig won 3-1 against Mainz. 2 goals for Werner. Wow. Dortmund, they won 5-2 against Hamburg. Hamburg have still yet to win this season. Aubameyang, he was banned in the Champions League for indiscipline. Then he returned and guess what? Scored 4 goals for the German side. Incredible stuff there. While in Ligue 1 in France, Monaco and Paris Saint-Germain are 3 points behind Nice. Nice got their first defeat of the season to Angers. PSG 4-0 winners, while Monaco, they won 6-0. That man, Radamel Falcao, with 2 more goals. So that's what happened across Europe this weekend. So I guess what? It's time. It's that time of the day for our product review. Now, the other day, my producer James said, "Richard, do you just say you like everything? Because every time I work with you, you seem to like stuff." And I said, "That's not true. I didn't like the Quest bar. There are a few other things I didn't remember, which I don't like. But guess what? This is something I don't really like, I'm afraid. I'll be honest. This is the gluten-free, nice and knobbly granola by Nature's Path. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and yogurt chunks. Now, as you know, I try and go a gluten-free diet, and this is just not tasty. I love my gluten-free porridge. I love my gluten-free muesli. We spoke about the free from on Friday. That was absolutely delicious. And it's just not tasty. It's not too unhealthy, you know, it's 140 calories, but it just tastes so sweet. It's the strawberries in it, I think. It just, it gives me too much of a sugar rush. I don't really eat granola, so I don't know if granola is normally this sweet, but I really didn't enjoy it. Now, what they say here is, we hope you agree that our crunchy, knobbly clusters of golden baked oats go very nicely with the sweet organic strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and chunks of creamy yogurt. Well, I'm sorry, Nature's Path. They don't. They don't work for me. They're not very good. I'm giving this away to the next person I see who enjoys granola, and they can tell me if they like this or not. I'm not even going to try this on the show because I've tried it 3 times at home and I don't want to eat it again. I'll be honest. This is not for me. It might be healthy, but it's not tasty. So this is Nature's Path, gluten-free, nice and knobbly granola. I'm guessing they won't be a sponsor on the show anytime soon. I'm really sorry about that. But that is my unbiased review of Nature's Path. I bought it myself, and that is a product review for you today. All right, we've come towards the end of the show. We've ran out of time. Let's have a quick reminder of today's sports headlines.
Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp plays down talk of a title challenge after his side moved to the top of the English Premier League with a 6-1 win over Watford. Barcelona are 2 points behind Real Madrid in La Liga. That's after they beat Sevilla 2-1. Andy Murray will officially be confirmed as world number 1 later. Murray beat John Isner to become the Paris Masters champion on Sunday. And 20-year-old Guilherme Gabriel Selassie of Eritrea became the youngest man to win the New York Marathon.
So that's it for another Sportuccino. I've been Richard Parr. I'm back tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. GMT, and we're talking about cricket. England versus India, the first test match between the two countries. Of course, England didn't do very well in Bangladesh, drawing that series 1-1. We'll be talking to the Indian sports anchor live from India, Nishad Vaidya. He'll be live on the show talking all things India versus England cricket. Join in the conversation on Twitter at Sportuccino. Join it on Facebook and on YouTube. I've been Richard Parr, and I'll be with you again tomorrow morning from 8.